Hello and welcome to everyone who is listening to us. This is our episode number 5 of Midrising. What's Midrising? You might ask yourself. Midrising is real talk from two 50-something women that are trying to figure life out. Well, we are figuring life out, aren't we, Gill? One plot twist at a time. My name is Barbara and I'm here with Gill. Welcome, Gill.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Great to be back.
I know, I'm excited too. How are you feeling today? Are we good?
I am at the other end of the day, and it's been a long one. My first meeting started at 7, so energy has dipped a little, I got to say, but I know these conversations will spark me up.
Well, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I think this is going to be the best part of your day. I can feel
I'm sure it will be.
Right. So now I think just for everyone who might have seen an episode before, but there might be people that haven't seen an episode before. So just as a reminder, this is not, sometimes we get asked, oh, are you giving advice? We are not here to give advice. This is not a how-to conversation. We are not giving 5 or 7 steps to reinvent your life. I mean, if we had that rule, we'd be rich, wouldn't we? It's just two women. They're talking honestly about what happens in the middle. The middle is messy. Yes, it's messy. All the rules that you've had for a very long time don't work anymore. And you don't really have the rule book, or nobody's told you what's happening next. So we're just really trying to figure it out. If you're watching live, feel free to say hello or hi in the chat. That'd be lovely. And if you're watching the replay, welcome to our podcast. So today, what are we talking about today? Every time we pick a different topic, and thank you for all the suggestions that are coming in as well. So today, we thought we'll pick one of our favorites, losing control. I think we're very well practiced at this one. We have a lot to share. So if we just want to set the context, we were thinking, Gill and I, of losing control. What do you mean? Well, if we think about it, we spend most of our lives, probably everyone, trying to avoid losing control. We build plans, we build routines, we might have, build relationships, careers, friendships, doesn't matter what it is. And we build all these things because all these things are giving us the feeling that things are stable, they're predictable, we can manage, we are in control. But life has a very special way of reminding us that many times control is more of an illusion than a reality. Jill, when we hear you spend all your life making plans and then life really just decides to throw something completely different. So life is what happens once you're busy making plans. It's actually the same, right? Sometimes it could be a sudden event. Sometimes something is unraveling slowly. At some point, you realize that things have changed. You're not quite steering the way that you thought you were. So today, we're dedicating our episode exactly to this topic. And we're just going to dig in and see what happens when you are in these moments. When the structure that we had is completely fallen, the certainty you had, everything, the framework, everything, the table, the wall, the ceiling, everything has disappeared. What happens? Do we get into a crisis, or could it be that that's the time that we start seeing things actually more clearly? And today, I'm very pleased that Gill is in the hot seat. Yay! So I have a few questions to ask you, Gill. So are you ready for the first one?
I am. Let's do it. Hit me with it, Barbara.
All right. So, and I think the first one that I really want to hear about is think of in your life, pick a moment, could be any moment, when you really felt like things were starting to really slip out of control. And when you identified one, there might be many, pick one. And did the fact that this happened make you see things differently in terms of uncertainty today? How do you deal with uncertainty today?
I mean, I've probably got two, to be honest. The first one is when I first became a mum, and I was at home with my son, and my hubby was commuting to work, and I just remember some days he would get home and I'd just be like, take him, I'm out, because you can't control these little tiny people.
No.
And I think we'd had a builder in that particular day or whatnot, and I just could not get him to sleep.
Oh.
feeding, cleaning, walking, rocking, singing, bouncing, playing, engaging.
Nothing will work.
And I just, at that point in time, the penny drops in me to say, we've created this human that we've actually got very little control over. They have a mind of their own. So that was a real freaky moment for me. I am quite, I'm a project manager. I like things to be in control. I like things planned. I manage risks. That's what I do for a job. So when you come from a structured type of environment, and obviously your career is something you spend a lot of time in, to be thrust into something completely foreign. And I was an older mom. I wasn't like a early 20s or whatnot. I was 39 when I had our first child. So
very similar. I was 38.
Really?
Oh my God. So I was 38 and 40.
We've got that in common.
Oh my God.
All us older mothers. I had Harley when I was 39 and Liney when I was 41. Just 41. But yeah, I remember that real feeling of loss of control and just absolute panic and despair that I didn't know what to do. And I think a lot of mums and dads hit that with their kids. So that was probably the first real one. And yes, there's probably been lots of micro moments before that, but I would say the next one was work related. And you were around at the time as well when some of this was happening, was the cycle of retrenchments that I managed to avoid until the end. And I remember at one point we called it some kind of like retrenchment tour, where they came to Australia, then they popped into Singapore and then went to London. And that was a real big initial wow. No one's indispensable. Anything can happen. And I guess it wasn't just the one time. I was trying to protect the team, look after the team, keep them positive, lead them through the uncertainty.
You were the mother hen.
The mother hen.
You were right, the mother hen, worrying about them and yourself at the same time. That's tough.
Yeah. And sort of as soon as the dust settles and you think you throw it around, it came again. Like, how am I going to get through this again and again and again? Like, there must have been 5 or 6 rounds of retrenchments that I managed to navigate in a fairly short period of time. But I think through that, you just have to draw on your core skills, really, that none of that is in your control, but what is in your control is how you react to it.
Yeah. But it's tough as well, right? You just reminded me, I used to work for a bank before I met you, and it was around the years, around 2008, around the crisis at the time. And it was like that in banking at the time. It was, I think, quarterly, but it was like literally relentless, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Just like one, and then the next, and the next. And it just reminded me, in that case, I survived that one. I didn't survive others, but I survived that one. And I remember I was in London at the time. I still remember there is that feeling, you have zero control, but at the same time, that's when zero control brings a lot of people together, right? Because you're in it together against the not having control. And I remember we were on 2 different floors of the building. And, people always know it's something that this is happening. People say something and you hear it. So the whole second floor, first floor, we were all connected via, the chat. And it would be like, they're coming to the second floor. They're in the lift. And then I remember this guy who happened to be my boss at the time stood in front of me. And Gill, I didn't even realize that it just became automatic. I knew he was coming in. I could see he had very distinctive white hair. And he was walking in. And I literally, without even thinking, I took whatever I had, an envelope or a piece of paper. And he stands in front of me and he goes, "Hi, Barbara." You know what was my reaction before I could even speak? I went like that. And I went, "I'm not here. Go away." I literally said that. And then he looks at me and he goes, "Why is that everyone is so unfriendly today? Nobody wants to talk to me." And I'm like, "Because we know why you're here."
Yeah, exactly. You
It
can't
really reminds me of that.
Water cooler chat. Everyone knows everything before any official
I
chat.
know.
Yeah.
So for me, it's funny, very similar to you. Both examples, I definitely had those. But there's another one that really hit me. For me was, and it still is, when I lost control of my body, control of the weight of my body, I would say. well, many things, not recognizing myself, but weight really, really hit me.
Yeah,
And I guess it's another thing that happens in mid-rising, right? Independent if you're a man or a woman, doesn't really matter. And it was just the fact, I don't know, nobody really prepares you that you really get to a point where weight comes on and does not want to leave you.
it's twice, if not 3 or 4 times the effort. I'm actually battling that right now because I was into such a good gym routine, and I all my meetings are currently happening in the morning, and so I'm not getting to the gym at all. And because I'm spending so much time on the camera, I'm just slowly watching my face get fatter and fatter and fatter, and it's killing me every day. It's like, how am I going to find time without getting up at 4 a.m. because I don't get
Oh,
enough
no.
sleep? So I know things will get better, but yeah, it's spiraling out of control at the moment. I gotta say, but there's plans in place to sort of.
To bring it back. And it's not, I remember me as well, when I look at my photos from maybe a year and a half ago, my face was so much bigger. But you know what I realized? It was the stress, and the stress was bringing my cortisol up. So I was also very, what's the word? Swollen.
Dysfunction hits a lot of women.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my God. One of the
stay up a school
327
water.
symptoms. All right. Well, I think now I'm going to move on to another question because, in a way, I mean, it's linked to the first one. So, think that we're losing control and we're really clinging on to something. And I'm sure we're clinging on to all the things that we don't want to lose control on. But if you think about, again, your experience, what do you think it is that you were clinging to control the most? Relationships, career, identity, something else?
I would definitely say career identity, and I think I have used my career identity as a crux for decades. I have. I've let it define me and be the measurement of my success for many, many years, over and above pretty much everything aside from my family, I would think. And I mean,
Yeah.
look, career and family are two of the most important things in our life, but
Yeah.
more important things such as my values and, the way I lead my life, etc. But definitely, it's interesting because it almost sounds maybe a bit of a juxtaposition because I spent 18 years as an independent contractor. And so I don't feel like it's the certainty of being an employee because let's face it, there's not a lot of security always in that structure these days
No.
anyway. Um, but it was when that break happened for me, and I just thought, who am I? Who
Yeah.
really am I? And there was a little bit of, can I let go of it? Am I still worth something without that? Am I still enough without being insert job title? And when insert job title wasn't there anymore because I'd spent 30 years getting to insert job title, what am I when I'm just Gill? No title. Shall I be, how do I feel? Do I feel like I'm enough still? And I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably one thing that really hit me. And then I just very quickly decided, yeah, I don't need a job title. But there was a lot of internal discussions that I had with myself because I did a whole personality shift. I let real Jill come out and the corporate cloak drop and went wild on socials and all that kind of thing. Um,
I
so
love real Jill.
I think I made a quick decision that I just didn't care what anyone else thought. And the title is only about other people. It's not about me. Because I think we mentioned last time is that I go where I go. And so my skills and all of that come with me. But
And your value.
yeah, I think, but letting go of a title, I think that's why some people probably feel different when they maybe take a less senior position in the next role or they go sideways. They're like, they've got that feeling they're not progressing, but in actual fact, you are because you're growing outwards. Not you don't just grow
Yeah.
up, you grow out, and learning is just as important that way when you actually change lanes.
Yeah. don't remember if I mentioned this last time, but if I did, I did. I'm going to mention it again.
Very good.
I think about my dad and when he was forced to retire on medical reasons. And I remember watching my dad and the way he reacted. And now, many years later, my dad passed away 10 years ago. Many years later, now I realize how he felt. And I totally recognize it because now that I went through this losing identity, and you're right, for me, was also linked to career.
Yep.
We discussed it last time, right? Title, job, definition. That's who I've been for 30 years. So now I don't know who I am.
Yep.
And I really realized why my dad ended up suffering so much and feeling like he was not worth anything anymore. And then, thank God, he was, he had enough wish to find something to make him feel good about himself again. And he started collecting stamps. And
Beautiful.
then he transformed that in a way as a business because that's what he knew what to do. He knew how to run it. And that gave him value and status and everything again. So in a way, like you and I discussed last time, reinventing yourself. Well, you want to be awake. We discussed this in the previous
Yeah.
podcast. Do you remember? We don't want
Yep.
a new life. We want to be awake in the one that we have.
Mm.
And now I look at my dad's experience and go, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Dad. I only get it now. I never understood it before.
And I think, it's just really important that we stop hanging so much value on our jobs and our titles and our position in a place where someone exchanges us for money. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Yes,
They're paying.
yes, you're right.
And I've got to say, what helped me navigate my retrenchment last year was having the mum assembly. I remember going through it thinking if I didn't have that and I was waking up the next day to what am I going to do now? I would have felt very different through that transition, which is why I advocate for everyone to have a side hustle. Have something
Yes,
aside, even if it doesn't generate income, even if it doesn't become a business. Just have something on the go that you are passionate about, that you love doing, that if and when you find yourself in a different circumstance in life, you've got that there. Because waking up when something as large as a career or well, not my career wasn't taking, but a job where you're spending
yeah,
40, 50 hours a week in, suddenly you find yourself with 40 to 50 hours. What are you going to do? And that's what
yeah,
happens in mostly in this age that we're talking about, right? In midlife, is what are you going to do? When you work that out, that's when
yes.
you rise. And that's when the exciting part happens. But you can prepare for it. You
But
can.
we don't think about it.
Risking.
I love it because either we don't think about it or we just think we don't have the time or we don't prioritize it. I mean,
Need to start thinking
right?
about it. You need to start prioritizing.
Yeah,
And even
yes, I
if you're doing
agree.
something an hour a week that should something change in your life. And it's not just a career thing. Your kids could leave home. You could have a separation. You might
Yeah,
be in-laws in, whatever, and you need space. Um, just to have something that maybe only is an hour, but it can scale up if you find yourself with more
yeah,
time and you're really passionate and enjoy it because it will help you, your mindset.
yeah. I love it. So think about now leadership and control. We're thinking, is it an illusion or is it a reality? So how do you see, how does the illusion of control show up in work or in a leadership position?
Look, project management. It's all about managing, controlling, de-risking,
Yeah, yeah,
being 17 steps ahead and planning backwards so that you've got gates in at different
yeah.
stages and managing all of that. So I would say I do that very naturally.
Mm,
I naturally am ahead several steps in
yeah,
my life as well, not just at work. I naturally think through forward and then come backwards. I build my project schedules backwards. Um, and so I think, we're literally trained in that way. But the illusion of control, I mean, if I just equate it back to the project management, everything looks good
Yeah.
on paper, right?
Oh
The
God,
illusion of
yeah,
control is there, and you can put as
yeah.
many control gates in as you can think of, but it is all just an illusion. Because you
And
can't control. Yeah, yeah.
you can present your report. It's all green. How many reports have you seen that green? And you know, in reality, it's catching fire.
I will report red. I got to say, I'm the honest project manager.
Yes, yes.
Um,
That's
but
why I love that.
it is all an illusion because you're never in control. There's too many things outside of your control. For a start, you're working with a team of people, so that throws your control register out the window anyway. Often you're working with small teams. Anyone gets sick, everything falls over. It's so many things that happen. So I do think control, not just in a work sense, but across all our aspects of life, is an illusion. And the only real control that anyone has ever been able to, I guess, exert would be by force, which I obviously we don't advocate for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for my mind, yeah, it's a bit of an illusion, but a fun one to play with.
No, but you're right. I was also thinking when you were talking, the good old leader versus manager. How many people who are managers, they think, I've got power. I am in control of the situation. I am telling people what to do and they're going to do it. Guess what? They're not. Not
They're
necessarily.
and they're absolutely not getting the best out of their teams, and if they're producing a product, they're not producing the best product. They're not giving their customers the best outcomes because you're relying on one brain versus a team of X brains. I mean, I'm interviewing at the moment, and my key thing is I'm looking for a sidekick. I know what I can do and I can do it well, and I know what I can't do, and that's what I'm looking for. I need that person to come and work alongside with me so that we both bring our skills, our knowledge, and our ways of working expertise to smash out goals for customers and our company. And so I'm not looking to manage anyone. I mean, who's got time for that? I don't have time for that. I'm all about self-empowerment. Yeah, you bring you, I'll bring me, we'll do it together and we all win. And that's been my ethos for many, many years.
So you were ahead of time because you remember when we all did the Scrum or Agile training, and that's really what you learned, right? That everyone is really is bringing the whole of themselves, and they need to be accountable. And really, it's the same concept.
It's the exact same concept, yeah. Certified Scrum
And
Master.
think exactly, and think of how companies and our organizations reacted, whether you were on the business side or technology delivering, or you were on the customer side. Everyone had a big panic. I remember I was in the bank when we first started because the illusion of control. What do you mean you don't have a project manager? How many times, Jill, they tell you, oh, the Scrum Master is a project manager. No, he's not. It's the complete opposite. I always say he's a therapist.
So many great conversations. We should do an agile.
I think we'll do one on Agile. That's one for another time. But I want to ask you another question. Now, let's think about you, Jill. Let go. How do you personally practice letting go? I know I find it really hard. How do you practice letting go?
I think fairly dramatically. If I think back through the latest cycle of letting go, I went and got tattooed. I took off for a month around Europe and dyed my hair pink.
Pink. I know. I loved it.
So, but
Did
yeah,
did that help you? Did that help you let go?
yeah.
Or was it more of a rebellion? It
Fantastic.
did?
Yeah, it was fantastic. So that was actually physical, really, but I mean, I had to do the mental work first to get to that point, I guess. But letting go is hard. It's hard to let go of friendships. I went through a very, very painful separation from two of my best friends in the last 6 years. Extremely painful.
Oh,
Probably more painful than anything I've ever experienced in my life. And I've lost a lot of good people in my life. Um, that was really hard. If I was to pick one thing that hit me the most, would be that separation with my two best friends a few years ago.
I can imagine.
It was
Oh
really
my
hard
God.
to understand, to take it in, to know what to do next, to even know why. And so there was a lot of pain processing through that.
Oh God, that sounds awful.
Yeah. So
Oh,
letting go of that took actually many years.
I can totally believe that. How
I
do I
mean,
practice? I
we're
can't.
I mean, it was a long, we were friends since we were 7. So a very, very long-standing friendship. That was very hard to let go. And I would say that took me 5 years more. And I'll never truly let go, but you do need to move on. You do need to
I was gonna say, I was gonna ask that.
your own mental health. But I think a lot of women go through friendship changes, and we should probably cover that as a separate topic too. I think
Maybe that could be another one. I think we're probably almost at time for this podcast, right?
quickly.
God, I know it's gone really quickly, and we've already come up with another 3 topics for the next few. Well, I don't think I can add anything because I'm just particularly bad at letting go. I don't think I've learned. Maybe, one could be, yeah, maybe one could be a therapy session about letting go. I'm working with my coach when I will learn to do that. And I normally just make a joke and go, I'm Italian. We don't let go. What is it that we say? We don't forget. We forgive, but we don't forget.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be a cultural element to that.
I think
But
that's really important though, to be able to forgive even if you don't forget.
yes. Yeah. At least, I've done 50% of the work. I can now forgive.
Yeah, forgiveness, maybe. Maybe in another
All
way.
right. I think so. Uh, all right. So I think for today, we are at the end of our podcast. I would like to thank Jill for spending time with us and for being in the hot seat and for sharing all of your experiences and thoughts. I'd like to say thank you to whomever was watching us and who will watch us during the replay. And please leave any comments, as always. If there is any topic that you'd like us to cover, let us know. If you would like to be one of our guests, we have the first guest who is booked in to come in the next few weeks. Just let us know. Put your hand up. We'd love to have you as our guests.
Wonderful. Yes, reach out.
I know. Thank you so much. And
on Apple Music and Amazon Music and podcast here, there, Spotify, everywhere you can find us. My husband did a search on Midrising, and we were the first to come up in the Google. So look at us.
Oh, yes.
Google.
I love it. I love it. Please just find us everywhere. Leave us some comments.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Have a great week, everyone.